When we go to solve this equation, the first thing we see are absolute values. Whenever we solve an equation with absolute values, we want to make sure to isolate the absolute values onto one side. In this case, we are going to isolate the absolute values onto the left side. To do so, we are going to subtract 1/2 over to the other side. And whatever we do to this side, we have to do to the other. So we are left with 2/3 A plus 1/6 in our absolute values. And then on the other side, we know 10/4 also reduces to 5/2. So you're taking 5/2 minus 1/2, which gives us 4/2, or 2. Now, our next step is once we see that they're absolute values, we then break it into two separate equations. So we know that 2/3 A plus 1/6 is equal to 2. We also know that 2/3 A plus 1/6 is also equal to -2. We get the -2 because we know absolute values equal the positive number on the right side as well as the negative number on the right side. So we now have our two separate equations. Our next step will be to solve both of them. The first one we are going to solve is when our equation equals 2. When it equals 2, we do the same as we would for any other equation. We want to isolate our variable A. When we isolate our variable A, the first step we will take is to subtract 1/6 from the left side, and whatever we do to that side, we must do to the right side. So we will get 2/3 A equals 2 minus 1/6. The next thing we are going to do for this is make sure we have common denominators on the right side. In doing so, we need to multiply the bottom by 6 and the top by 6. So, on our right side, we then get 12 over 6 minus 1/6 equals our 2/3 A still. So, we know 12/6 minus 1/6 is then equal to 11/6. Once we have our 2/3 A equals 11/6, our next step is going to be to divide 2/3 A by 2/3. Whatever we do to the left side, we have to do to the right side. Our 2/3 divide to 1, and we are left with A equals 11/6 divided by 2/3. This is the same as writing 11/6 times 3/2. When we divide by a fraction, we can multiply by the reciprocal. So, in this case, we see 11/6 multiplied by 3/2. When we wish to solve this, our first step could be to cancel. We can cancel the 3 with a 3 of the 6. The 3's will divide to 1. We are left with a 1 on top and a 2 on the bottom. We then can multiply across. A will then equal 11 times 1, which is 11, and then 2 times 2, which is 4. So, our first answer for our absolute value, A will equal 11/4. The second problem we are going to do for our absolute values is when our absolute value equals -2. Our first step is to subtract -1/6 over, and whatever we do to the left, we have to do to the right. Now, remember, we are trying to isolate our variable A. So, we get 2/3 A equals a -2 minus a 1/6. So, once we get to this step, we know we need to find a common denominator on the right side. To do so, we know -2 is over 1. To find the common denominator, we are going to multiply both the top and the bottom by 6. So, in our numerator, we will get -12. Our denominator will have 6, and we are still subtracting off 1/6. And this is still equal to our 2/3 A. -12 6 minus 1/6 then gives us a negative 13 sixths. Now that we found 2/3 a is equal to negative 13 sixths, our next step to isolate our variable a will be to divide both sides by 2/3. Whatever we do to the left, we have to do to the right. Our 2/3 on the left will divide to 1, and we will be left with a equals a negative 13 sixths. And remember, when we're dividing by a fraction, we can also multiply by its reciprocal. So we are going to do that to the bottom. We will multiply our negative 13 sixths by 3/2. Now, our 3 can go into 6 one time, and we've left 2 over. So our a will then equal negative 13 times 1, which is negative 13, and 2 times 2, which is 4. So the second answer for our absolute values will be negative 13 fourths. Now that we have our two answers, a equaling 11 fourths and a also equaling negative 13 fourths, it is all right to put these into a set. When we put them in a set, we will always put the negative number first, or the lowest number. So we will put negative 13 fourths in, comma, 11 fourths. And that should be our final answer. It matches letter E.